Okay, I'm sitting here with one of our dear clients, Jeff. We just completed a full renovation of this beautiful home in Gates Mills.
Yep.
So if you don't mind sharing, what inspired you to do this project?
Yeah, we've been looking for several years to find the right property in the right condition and the right environment. And we wanted something that had some history to it. And so a multi-year search led us to this property, which had been in the same family for over 100 years. Had a pretty interesting backstory, the grounds we're looking for. And the house itself was built the core of in 1850 with several subsequent additions and renovations, the last one being in the early 60s. So it kind of fit everything we're looking for. We want to engage on something that we could blend the new with the old and take advantage of the bones of the house, so to speak.
Jeff, what were you hoping to achieve with this project?
Yeah, we were hoping it would stay in our family for another 100 years. So for us, the challenge was not losing the character of the property through the renovation itself. So we wanted somebody to walk in this house and think the house had been in this state for 100 years, but just had been well maintained. And so we were looking for something that we could pass on to our kids and their kids. And then for everyone that would see it in generations that would visit would go, this is a tastefully done renovation that still pays homage to what the house was back in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Jeff, so how was your experience working with our team from start to finish?
We do a project tomorrow, I would hire you guys again.
Wow.
And the reason was that partnership. When there were issues that surfaced, we figured out a solution together. And so what I appreciate was the partnership, working through things when things came up inevitably. And I appreciate the efficiency and transparency of the things that we dealt with. So yeah, overall positive experience for sure. And again, that recommendation for me is always, would I work with you again? Absolutely.
And that is the biggest compliment for us as a contractor. If after this 1 year old, 1 year long project, that you would choose to use us again. Thank you for that. Jeff, how did our team communicate during the remodeling process?
Right, yeah, so consistency is the key for any sort of communication, and transparency is the key as well. Everyone's doing the best job they can, but sometimes things break, or sometimes a subcontractor might do something that maybe wasn't up to your part. Things happen. The important thing is you resolve it and move on to the next thing. Everyone's doing the very best job they can. So I always appreciated that, constant communication on where we are, where we're going. So having that communication, that transparency to us was the most important and the best part of working with your team. And what I appreciate too is we wanted details, some pretty specific details on some of the trim and some of the finer points of the house. And our project manager, Anatoly, spent a lot of time working with those to get to precisely how we wanted it done with the tradesmen that you had working with you. I can remember the texts and the emails, all the communications back and forth for smaller things. And I always recognized, we're not the only project you had. I know we weren't the only project that Anatoly had, and they're all at varying levels of maturity. So I get it, but I always appreciate that when we were talking to him on the phone or in person, he treated us as if we were his only project.
Were there any design or special touches that impressed you? Any details?
Yeah, details. I would say the teamwork, which led to some details between our architect, our interior designer, and the project management team, right? That is like the holy trinity for the homeowner of getting things done. But it's important when it gets down to deals where you could look, you may be able to see it in the background. Just the attention to detail on the trim work is magnificent, right? That was the stuff, items that our architect called out and our designer called out collaboratively, but it's on, as always, it's on the project manager to execute that. So I'd expected at the very beginning that was going to be a tough part and things were going to get missed, we have to come back, and it wasn't the case at all because it was a very deliberate, intentional approach. Again, going back to that communication between plan your work and work your plan. There was, check and double check with the homeowner and the architect designer. This is what we all want. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, now go ahead and execute. So I would say that level of coordination amongst the stakeholders, your project team being a key part of that, because they're the executors on the ground, was what exceeded our expectations, because that's where I expected there to be some things to fall through the crack, because there were so many of those details in here, but they didn't. And so that's a testament to the team.
What do you think, how well did our team do with communicating with other professionals outside of Keselman Construction Group.
So, and those were knowns up front that we were working with. We had an architect and we had a designer, and so there was communications before the project even started. Again, just to make sure everyone met and knew each other, not just names and faces, but okay, what's the philosophy? Let's review the prints together before we start swinging hammers and knocking things down. But there was also, I would say, and this was on us as a family, right? We wanted to hire, we had a mason we really liked working with. We wanted to hire a cabinet maker. So there's some things unique to us. And so again, you've heard me say it a couple times in this interview, but it all comes down to the communication and transparency, not just between homeowner and project manager, but probably more importantly between the project manager and the subs who aren't really working for you on that. So that part, you never would have known that they weren't working for you. In a vacuum, you would have thought that the team would work together.
Jeff, would you recommend Keselman Construction Group, our team, to anybody who is looking to do remodeling or construction, and why? Yeah,
for sure. So without doubt, we recommend the team for their project, big or small or in between. You guys have shown you can handle a project that has a lot of unknowns before you get into it and execute it cleanly and efficiently. If you're a homeowner and you're looking at doing a historic remodel, you really need to take a long, hard look at your company because of not just others' house in the same vein that we work with. Because I do think there's a difference between contractors that can just do new build, contractors that can renovate, and contractors that can take care of an old home and bring it back to life. All the pitfalls and things, every landmine you could potentially run into, that you could map out, this home had. So I think it's important that you go with a team that has the subcontractor base and the skill set, and also the attitude that they're not going to get overwhelmed by things. They're going to figure out a solution and then come back tomorrow and put it into motion. And that, to me, again, is why I would come back to you guys again after a project like this. So very, very impressed with the team, with the company you've created, with the team you've pulled together. We've enjoyed it. We'll enjoy sharing our house over the years with people. We thank you for the work that your team has done on this to put us in the position to have those times with our family and others in this home.
And thank you for letting us be a part of this project.
Absolutely, thank you.